This audio is from an ebook titled Die Before You Die, authored by Tira, The Non-Self. Forward. Our lives move forward each day like a clock that never stops. The body, thoughts, and emotions arise and fade continuously as part of nature. Yet because we attach the meanings, this is me and this is mine, what is simply occurring becomes a heavy burden called suffering. In truth, everything only appears to be known, and then dissolves back into the quiet knowing that has always been present within. Nothing needs to be added, adjusted, or searched for. When we return to the source, the natural knowing itself, liberation is not far away. This book invites us to die before we die, to die from the belief in a self while still alive. It is not the destruction of life, but the releasing of the identity we have carried for so long. To set aside the thoughts we believed, the emotions we held tightly, and the inner voice that commanded us every day. When these are put down, even briefly, a gentle lightness appears. Spaciousness opens naturally, without effort. This practice does not require a special time or personal perfection. It begins now, simply by seeing that everything is functioning on its own, and that there has never been a someone inside it. You do not need to believe anything or reject anything. Just read softly and observe yourself as you go. This body is not ours. The body arises, changes, and eventually dissolves. This is the most certain law of nature. Yet we resist it because we have tied our sense of self to appearance, health, age, and the reflection in the mirror. Then we begin the lifelong project of controlling the body into what we desire. When it changes according to conditions, we feel hurt, as though something has been stolen from us. Pause for a moment and breathe gently. See the body as a vehicle. We receive it to use, not to own. A vehicle takes us where we need to go. The body is what the knowing nature uses to learn about itself. We maintain it when appropriate, nourish it when needed, and repair it when necessary. But we do not need to cling to its surface or shape, or the marks of time upon it. All of these change naturally. When we stop telling ourselves that this is my body, and instead recognize directly that this is simply a body performing its functions, the mind loosens. When illness arises, we care for it without the added burden of ownership. A gentle lightness appears. The body remains the body, but the one who carried it as mine has been released. Thoughts and emotions are not us. There is a voice in the mind that narrates almost continuously. It names, evaluates, compares, and claims possession. It says, my sadness, my fear, my hurt, and from this habit, a solid identity forms. Yet thoughts and emotions arise by themselves, according to conditions. They belong to no one. Close your eyes and rest in silence for a moment. There is a knowing that does not rely on words. It knows quietly, without hurry, without judgment, without insisting on anything. When a thought appears, notice simply that a thought is happening. When an emotion arises, notice that an emotion is present. Let everything come and go naturally, without becoming the thinker or the feeler. As this recognition deepens, we see that thoughts arise by themselves, emotions change by themselves, and knowing simply knows. The one who was believed to be in control does not appear at all. The belief in a self begins to loosen. Die before you die. To die before you die is to release the role of being the owner of experience. It is to stop being the controller and interpreter. It is to let go of the inner story that says, this belongs to me. When these layers of identity fall away, everything that occurs is simply the movement of nature. Return to knowing again and again. Let the body breathe. Let thinking happen by itself. Let emotions unfold and fade naturally. Knowing simply knows. Let emotions rise and fall. Knowing remains still, simply aware. When we do not step in to become the one who experiences, experience cannot harm us. A natural spacious ease appears, like clouds passing through the open sky. The sky has never been burdened by clouds. With practice, we begin to notice the small space between an event and the grasping toward it. That space is the doorway to freedom. Each moment of seeing without clinging is a small death of the self. Eventually, the habit of grasping has nothing to hold. Simply seeing much suffering comes from the belief that something is ours. The mind turns simple experiences into burdens by insisting on ownership. Liberation does not come from stopping thoughts or controlling feelings. It comes from seeing clearly when the habit of thinking begins to draw us into identification. When it is seen, the pull softens on its own. When it is seen clearly, the belief dissolves like a soap bubble touched lightly. If grasping arises again, notice it gently, and it will loosen on its own. That noticing is already freedom. Ignorance is not corrected or judged. It is simply illuminated, and in that illumination, it has no strength to remain. One day, we may smile at how we spent a lifetime chasing our own reflection. When we stop chasing, the reflection stops. There was nothing to chase, and nothing being chased. The peace that arises naturally. When knowing is trusted, practice becomes simple. We no longer need to force the mind to be still. Everything is allowed to function on its own. The body breathes and moves. Thoughts and emotions rise and fall. Knowing remains open and quiet. This peace is different from peace created by suppression. Suppression is tense and fragile. The peace that comes from non-identification is spacious and gentle. It can coexist with sound, movement, and thought. Life becomes natural. The heart becomes soft, yet steady. Compassion arises naturally when we are no longer protecting a self. Forgiveness becomes easy. Communication becomes gentle. Decisions become clear. What remains is sincerity without heaviness. Conclusion. At the deepest level, what we are is pure knowing, clear, open, unbounded. The body, the voice in the mind, and emotions are temporary visitors. The host is the quiet knowing that has always been here. We were simply busy greeting the guests and forgot the host. When we remember the host, the guests lose their power to disturb. Live the life that remains, whether long or short, by seeing again and again that everything is only a natural appearance and belongs to no one. When seen clearly enough, clinging falls away on its own. We live in the world without being lost in it. Everything continues to unfold while the heart remains free. This is the meaning of die before you die. Liberation in this very life.